Jarrell Jash Johnson, Gospel Herald, CitySportsReport.com. It is my esteemed honor to be here with Ruth Morrison, former beat writer for the New York Beacon, which is a paper I write for now, and the founder of the award-winning cable television series, What's the 411? How are you doing today?
I am great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you very much.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you as well. First question I want to ask you, you used to be a beat writer covering the New York Knicks. What was that like for you as an African-American woman to cover a team like the New York Knicks?
Wow. You know what? That was an amazing experience and one that I will never, ever forget. Because I was one of 3 women who covered the New York Knicks on a regular basis. And, it was interesting because when I would tell people that I was covering the Knicks, they were like, "Oh my God, you're in the locker room," and I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm there. I'm doing my job, and but it was a really great time. It was excellent time."
What are some of your fondest memories from that time that you covered the Knicks, that 5-year period you were there?
Wow. When they won the Eastern Conference Championships and being on the floor, after the game was over and all the confetti was coming down from the ceiling and the roar from the crowd, it was just so loud, and the vibrations, that's, it's like I almost can feel it right now. It was really.
So let's talk about What's the 411, show that you still produce. You're the founder. What was your motivation to start the company and start doing that?
Well, you know what is interesting because there was a couple of things. One, when I got the idea, I was developing the City of New York's cable TV network. So I developed that network and launched it from conception. It's a 5-channel cable television network. And it was during a time when there was a whole lot of conversation going on about, well, we're moving into a 500-channel world. And I was like, well, if there's going to be 500 channels, there's going to be need for content. So I knew then that I wanted to be an independent television producer to produce content. But over time, I realized that, well, there was a need for a show like What's the 411 because we didn't have as many, black people on TV in a role where they could sit down and talk about who they are beyond just being an artist. Who are they as people? So that's the reason why, I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to, create this, entertainment and lifestyle. Well, actually at that time, entertainment show. Yeah.
So who was the first big interview that you guys landed with What's the 411?
Well, you know what, actually, our very first interview was with Freedom Williams. And he had a huge hit at the time. So I considered him to be, a big star. But the A-list actor was Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, oh my God. It was like, wow. When we got that opportunity, it was like, I'm like, okay, well, we're on our way now. Yeah.
So who has been some of your favorite guests on the show? Big A-list or not?
Wow. That's really interesting because there have been some standouts. Let's see, Eddie Griffin, he's a comedian. That was one of my first interviews. And I was so nervous. And when that interview was over, he came from the other side and sat in my lap. So, I'll never forget that story. And then, we interviewed Queen Latifah, which was a really interesting, interview. Let's see, Cuba Gooding Jr. was really good. Angela Bassett. It was interesting because when we interviewed Angelina Jolie, she really appeared to be so pale. And that was surprising because every time I saw a photo of her, she was always like she had been in the sun. She had a tan or something. And to see her to be so pale, I was like, wow, this is really, strange, But she was so gracious, as was her father. actually. We interviewed him, at one point. Liam Neeson, that was a good interview. And I mean, I could go on and on, but yeah, I don't, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your newest venture. What's the 411 Sports?
Well, you know what? I am so proud to be able to take, my journey from being a reporter to now covering for my own media company, sports. So, and it's been great. I mean, we have credentials to cover the Brooklyn Nets. We've covered the Knicks. We covered the Giants. This, you well know, we were at the U.S. Open this year, which was really, really great. And in addition to interviewing the, getting, time with some of the, the players, the tennis players, we also interviewed D.A. Abrams, who is the chief diversity officer for the U.S. Tennis Association. And, this year, it's our third year that we had the our 25 most interesting people. So it was the 25 most interesting people of 2014, and D.A. Abrams, was on that list. And Michael Strahan topped the list. He was number one. And we interviewed him in 2014 at the Super Bowl because, it was here in New York last year. And Richard Sherman was on the list as well because he was, we interviewed him. And everybody who was on that list basically are people that, we interviewed throughout 2014. So we've had a really great run,
You certainly have. So what can we expect from What's the 411 and What's the 411 Sports in 2015?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Well, certainly, more, great interviews, lots of conversation about things that are going on in sports and as well as entertainment because of the entertainment side of things we will be talking as well. And more, guests, man, like you. We're going to have you on the show, giving your perspective about what you see, happening, in the sports area. So, yeah.
So to the people out there who are not familiar with What's the 411, let them know where they could find both What's the 411, What's the 411 Sports as well, so that when I'm on it, you guys can watch that too.
Yeah, well, you know what? You can always, what I always say to people, subscribe to our YouTube channels. I mean, we're on Verizon, Fios citywide, and Cablevision, Time Warner, RCN, but if you subscribe to our YouTube channels, 411 Sports TV and What's the 411 TV, you will always know when we have uploaded an interview with someone because Google will actually Google does own YouTube, will send you an alert by email letting you know we just uploaded a new video. So anybody who does that, they're going to be in the know of everything that we're doing. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channels. Yeah.
All right. Well, we certainly need to get going because there's a basketball game that's going to start pretty soon behind us. But it was a pleasure talking to you, and we look forward to doing this again in the near future.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.